Hello and welcome back to Midnight Who Blog. I'm Patrick, and tonight I'm going to be reviewing Series 10, Episode 7, Pyramid at the End of the World. I'm actually taking a page from my... from my friend's book and wrote down notes to myself so I don't have to try and remember everything. Especially considering it was 5:10 in the morning when I watched it the first time. So I just got around to... Well, I just found my notes again. I had written them down and then forgot where I put the notebook because, like I said, it was 5:10 in the morning. I pretty much immediately went to sleep after writing them. The notebook had fallen off the side of the couch and into the abyss. I had just forgotten that I had notes, so I was just going to watch it again. But I didn't have to, which, going by my notes, is a good thing, because I didn't seem to care for it. So, if you haven't seen it yet, which would be kind of odd but possible, considering it's the next episode since then has already shown The Lie of the Land is the next one, and that's already aired yesterday. So, anyway, if you haven't seen it, watch it before this. This is your one and only spoiler warning. So, and you won't get another in this video. So, it starts by recapping what had happened in the episode prior with, sorry, I have to check really quick, because I don't remember what happened in the episode before, in Extremis. So, it recaps what happens in Extremis with the Veritas and all that. And the shadow test. And then Bill and Penny it shows Bill and Penny dating again, and they're interrupted again, though this time it's by the UN general. I think it was the general. Like the head person in charge of the United Nations. Interrupts them instead of the Pope this time. So, had a pyramid, a 5,000-year-old pyramid, appear in the middle of a war zone between three major military groups, and it wasn't there the day before, so they saw that it might be a bit of a problem, so they've got a way to contact the doctor. The three military groups made a plan going against... I was getting ahead of myself. They made a plan to show unity and strength against the pyramid, which was controlled by the monks. But the plan failed and people were captured. I'm pretty sure everyone that was captured was let go. I don't remember if anyone that was captured didn't come back, but... Sorry. Also, there was a side story leading up to, or going alongside the whole episode, concerning a lady with broken glasses and a heavily intoxicated man. Working in a lab. So, because the lady's glasses were broken, she needed the intoxicated man to enter the numbers for the chemical ratios, and he put the decimal in the wrong place because he wasn't paying attention closely enough. And at that point, I can see in my notes that I already knew something was going to happen because of that. I didn't know what at the time, but it was not good. And also during the episode, there's been a doomsday clock where everything that tells time in the world has been set to 11:57 p.m., so it's 3 minutes to midnight, which the doomsday clock is if you take all of, like, the entire history of the universe and condense it down to the face of a wall clock, with midnight being the end of the world. They set it at 3 minutes to midnight, which I think if you're factoring in all of history, 3 minutes is still several hundred years, probably several thousand years. So that seems like quite a while, but it wasn't quite a while. It was a matter of hours. Also, I finally figured, not related to Doctor Who really, other than by the actor, but I recently found out that Matt Lucas, who plays Nardole, also played the Tweedles in the Tim Burton version of Alice in Wonderland, so I don't know, I thought that was kind of interesting. So the intoxicated guy, whose name was Douglas, did cause problems by putting the decimal point in the wrong place. It was supposed to be 11.18 or something like that, and he ended up doing 111.8. I think it was milliliters or liters. No, it was milliliters, I think, because it was in a gaseous state by the time it actually got dispensed onto the flowers. They were testing a certain chemical composition on flowers to see what it did. I don't know if it stated what they were hoping would happen, but by putting too much, all of the flowers died and turned into soup, basically, like a mud soup. And so Mr. Inebriation, who wasn't thinking straight, clearly, thought it would be a good idea to open the window to one of the plant, the way they had them sectioned off. They had, I think, 3 or 4 little boxes that they were in, so he opened the window to one of them, took just a cup that was sitting there for some reason, scooped up some of the muck, covered it with his hand, which isn't going to create a very effective seal, ran out the door, left the door open, ran into the airlock, left that door open, and ran out of the airlock into the lab and left all 3 doors open. So that gas that was in there has now contaminated everything up to the lab. And because he was in contact with it the most, and the lady still had her mask on and everything, it was like a full-on bodysuit, but he had taken his helmet off before he scooped up the muck in the water, or muck in the cup, and he kind of melted and turned into mush. So, anyway, and that was all concerning that section up until that point. The 3 military generals tried to surrender to the monks for them to save the world, because they offered to save the world, but in order to do so, someone in a position of power had to surrender control of the planet to them, and it had to be out of love for them. Well, no, they didn't say it had to be out of love for them. They had said it had to be out of love and not out of fear or anything. So the UN general early on in the episode had decided to do it, but he was doing it out of fear, so they vaporized him. The 3 military generals tried to surrender as well, but they were trying to do it out of strategy, and so they got vaporized as well. The doctor had sent Bill to try and stop them from attempting surrender, because he had an idea about how to prevent them from being needed by shutting off the CCTV to all of the labs that were working on any thing that was being monitored by the government, and seeing which one got turned back on, because he figured that the monks were being able to view it through the cameras. So anyway, he did that. They turned the one back on that I really wish I had gotten the lady's name. I'm gonna see if it's in the cast list real quick. It is not. So, but anyway, so they went to the lab that the lady and Douglas were in, and figured the only way to prevent further contamination was, because the gas was highly flammable, is going to blow up the lab. Unfortunately, I don't remember a big explosion, and I didn't write down that there was, so it probably didn't explode. Something else happened that prevented it. Says here, I'm having trouble reading my writing. Sorry. The combination to get out of the airlock, because the doctor needed to set the bomb to go off. So he was running, and the lady went ahead first, because she had a limited air supply for some reason or another. I don't exactly remember, because like I said, it was 5 of 10 and I didn't write it down. So I probably should have rewatched it before filming this, but I don't know. I'll remember that for next time. So the doctor can't see the combination to enter the code to open the door to get out, and she can't open it from that side because it's airlocked, or because it's locked, because they set it up in the warning alarm zone, lockdown, quarantine. Quarantine is the word I'm looking for. The place was under quarantine, so all the doors were locked, and you needed to enter the combination to get them open, and they only work from one side, apparently. Which makes sense. If you're trying to quarantine something, the combo only working from one side makes sense. In some weird way. So Bill ended up giving consent, because while he was trapped, he realized that he wasn't going to make it out, and he was going to die without having not told Bill he was blind. So he told her over the phone, and she ended up surrendering to the monks as a proxy power to the doctor. So she was representing the highest power on the planet, according to them. And she was doing it out of her love for the doctor and not wanting him to die, so her consent was deemed pure, and the monks now have control of the world, I guess. But it left off on a cliffhanger, so I'm about to watch the next episode, because it's Sunday morning at midnight right now, so I've been filming since about midnight. There's a reason it's called Midnight Who. So, yeah, that is all I have written here. I do remember that the monks gave the doctor his eyesight back, so I'm not sure how that. I wasn't sure how they were going to deal with him being blind for the rest of the season, but apparently they're not, because they gave him his sight back. So now he's just got to deal with the monks. And sorry if the camera keeps moving. I don't have my tripod here. It's still in the car. Yeah. So Anyway, also I have on my notes that John Sim, I just have John Sim written on my notes. I'm guessing Tired Me was probably trying to remind myself that he hasn't shown up yet, and I don't remember where I heard it, but I heard that he was going to be in this series at some point, and I'm frankly not sure how they're gonna do that, because they've already got Missy, so I don't know how they're gonna have the Master in twice at the same time. I mean, I guess they did it with the Doctor in the 50th, so it's not completely impossible. It's just, I'm curious how that's gonna go. Because John Sim is, at this point, my favorite person who has played the Master. I think he did a good job of conveying the craziness that listening to a lifelong of drumming in your head would bring about. But anyway, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.